Good evening, everybody. I would like to welcome all to tonight's Highway to Freedom special opportunity overview webinar. Now, as we get started tonight, I do want to let you guys know that the information that you hear tonight is going to be truly some life-changing information for those who apply it. I mean, a month from now, 6 months from now, a year from now, you guys will remember this night as one that truly changed your life. So with that being said and done, I would like to encourage everyone to grab a pen and a paper, because I'm sure as we go through this information, you will have some questions or concerns that may arise. And at the end of this presentation, we will give you all the opportunity to have your questions answered. So before we get started, like I said, I want to give everybody a minute or two. My name is Shane Gore. I'm going to be one of your hosts tonight, and we will get started within the next couple of minutes, giving everybody a chance to grab a pen and a paper. Okay, so hopefully by now everyone has had a chance to grab a pen and a paper, and we'll get started. To get started, I'd like to give you all a little preview of how we came up with this brand called the Highway to Freedom. And in order for me to do that, I have to kind of take you back, a little bit back in time to a little bit of history about myself. I was born in Brooklyn, New York, and at that time, I was born from a young mother, a single mother, and she felt it was important. You know, she sent me down to South Carolina because she felt at that point in time, it was kind of important that I have a little more of a structured life. You know, she was a mother that felt that raising her son in the inner city of New York, I could have a little more advantage being raised in the South. So I moved down with my aunt and uncle, and at that point in time, I wasn't as thrilled about moving to the South, moving to the country, but it truly turned out to be something that was positive for me in my growth. Living in the South, I got a chance to have my aunt and uncle as great role models. I mean, my uncle, he was a band director, and he moved on to become a principal of the middle school that I attended. My aunt was a teacher at the high school that I attended. And like I said, I had them as positive role models. They had great jobs. But not only did they have great jobs, they were also entrepreneurs. My uncle was a photographer. So, you know, taking pictures of the sports teams, taking pictures of weddings, taking just natural pictures. And like I said, he was an entrepreneur. with their lifestyle, and my aunt was right by his side. So if my uncle was taking pictures of weddings, my aunt was the one that was kind of organizing these weddings and planning out these weddings for the bride and groom. So that what they did afforded them a great life. I mean, I got a chance to travel all over the United States at a young age. I was even into extracurricular activities. At a young age, I learned how to play piano. I got a chance to play piano in the church. I mean, when my friends were working at the McDonald's or the grocery store, making, let's say, $100 a week and still having to study and go to school, I could sit in church and play the piano for 2 hours and make $400 a week. So, like I said, it was a great life for me. I remember at the age of 16, I got my license. I had an option of the cars that I wanted to drive to school. I watched them build a beautiful home on 25 acres of land. It was an awesome life, needless to say. But in 1999, the year I graduated high school, the next day, I moved back to Brooklyn, New York to live with my mom. And I remember like yesterday, my mom saying, well, you're going to have to get out here and get a job. You're going to have to help out with some bills. And you're not going to be sitting home playing the game and playing that keyboard all day long. You're going to have to get out and do something. So she actually helped me get my first job. And that first job was at Foot Locker. Now, as I take you guys down my path of growth, I want to pull up this chart. And some of you may be familiar with it. It's the cash flow quadrant introduced by Robert Kiyosaki. Some of you may be familiar with Robert Kiyosaki. And so as I talk about the first job I had as an employee, it put me in this left side of the quadrant. If any of you guys know about the cash flow quadrant, Robert Kiyosaki always talks about to be successful and to be free of finances, we always want to be able to transition over to the right side of the cash flow quadrant as a business owner and as an investor. So as I started my journey, naturally I started on the left side as an employee at Foot Locker. And yeah, I was excited about getting my first job, a little nervous. It was a new venture for me. This is my first really official job. But I said, you know what, I got a job now. I'm stepping into manhood, and I'm going to be able to replace the lifestyle that I was afforded by living in the South and being raised by my aunt and uncle. So I got that job and I worked hard. I was at Foot Locker. You know, I thought I was going to be selling sneakers, but I found myself stocking shoes in the back, sweeping and mopping. But I said, hey, I got a job. And at the end of that first week, I remember getting a check for $90. And I said, whoa, that was an eye-opener for me. I said, it's going to take a lot of these $90 to be able to replace the lifestyle that I had being raised in the South. And it just wasn't adding up for me. So I remember working that job for about 2 weeks and moving on. And I got another job at Starbucks and I actually enjoyed that job. I mean, I had fun calling out the drinks. I had great coworkers. You know, it was fun. I was a barista. Almost felt like I was a bartender, but instead of making drinks of alcohol, I was making drinks of coffee. But at the end of that couple of weeks, I realized the pay was not really much different than what I was earning from Foot Locker. So I didn't stay there long, and I remember getting one of my best jobs as an employee at the DoubleTree Guest Suites in Times Square. And I was making good money. I remember the first time being able to have, in those days, we called it a knot. That was a little bit before the popularity of the debit cards and the credit cards. You know, everybody carries cards today. They don't carry cash as much in their pocket. But in that day, I remember having my first knot. I had $1,000 in my pocket, and things were going great. I had a good job. But I remember one day my supervisor coming to me and said, Shane, you are a great worker when you show up. Because I found myself, you know, going to work late sometimes. And then when I would go to work late, I would get chewed out by my supervisor. So when I got chewed out, if I was late the next day, I just wouldn't show up because I just didn't want to hear his mouth. And, a lot of the people that I worked with, they were career minded. I was maybe about 19, 20 years old at the time. So, to me, it was just a job. It was just, we make some money. And a lot of the people that I was working with, this was their career. They were taking care of their families. So I didn't take it that serious. And needless to say, after that, a few days or a few weeks of, showing up late sometimes or not showing up, I got fired from that job. Then I remember getting back in that newspaper, looking for another opportunity to get a job, make some money. Like I said, it was always about being able to replace the lifestyle that I had in the South, where it seemed like in the South, money was nothing but a thing. The things that I wanted, they were just there for me. And I found this job selling perfume and cologne. And this wasn't the average perfume and cologne company. I mean, I wasn't in a setting like Macy's or a Perfume Mania where people would come in the store and you could, sell them perfume. In this company, uh, it was all the boxes were pretty much generic. They all looked the same. It was a type of situation where if you've heard of cool water, if you like cool water, smell this, you might like this. And they would send us out with this merchandise. Again, they all look the same, just different smells that represented different fragrances, not necessarily the fragrance itself. And they would send us out, and it would be up to you to sell that product the best way you could. So with this new position where the responsibility was really up to me to make the sales. If you make the sales, you made money. If you didn't make the sales, you didn't make no money. No money. That literally took me to the next side of the cash flow quadrant of Robert Kiyosaki's of being self-employed. And I was very, very excited about this position because to me, it was fair. As an employee, I remember saying to myself, it doesn't matter if I work hard, if I don't work hard. At the end of the week, it's still the same check. But as self-employed, if I worked hard, I made more money. If I didn't work hard, I made little money. And I loved that position that I was in at that point in time as a self-employed person. So needless to say, I worked very hard. Again, I'm trying to replace that lifestyle. I want the big house. I want to be able to travel all over the world. And I sold perfume and cologne all over New York. I sold perfume and cologne on the trains, Wall Street, Times Square, from the Bronx to Jamaica Ave in Queens, to Fulton Street in Brooklyn. I mean, wherever I saw people, I was selling perfume and cologne. I remember some days it seemed like I was selling perfume and cologne 24 hours a day. I was selling perfume and cologne in my sleep, dreaming about selling perfume and cologne because that's how motivated and hardworking I was. Because simple for the fact that whatever I put in is what I would get back out. And I did that for a while. And I remember advancing in life and getting another sales job that had me in that self-employed bracket of Robert Kiyosaki selling life insurance. And it was the same situation. If I sold policies, I made money. If I don't sell policies, I don't make any money. And I always loved that position because to me, again, it was fair. And I was very successful selling life insurance as well. Selling life insurance afforded me the ability to be able to travel all over the world with no expenses out of my pocket, just from the efforts that I put in. I've had the chance to travel to Mexico a couple of times, Vienna, Austria, Hawaii, Aruba, traveling all over the world from the success that I had as a self-employed person. I was doing an awesome job. But it got to the point in which the hours that I had to put in was not really giving me the lifestyle that I wanted. I mean, when you come home and the food is in the microwave, or when you leave and, or you come home and your child is asleep, so you're really not getting a chance to spend time with the family and enjoy life, it wasn't adding up to the lifestyle that I was looking for. And through my journeys, and again, that was with success. That was with making money. But, it gets to a point where you realize life is more than just making money. And through my travels, I was starting to meet people who had the same mindset. I mean, with that being said and done, some of you guys, you may not have the same story that I have, but a lot of the people that end up on the highway to freedom, we have the same destination that we're looking to end up in. Yes, we want the financial freedom, but we also want to be able to have the time freedom. And I met people along the way that had that same interest, that same goal. And this is why we created what we have, what we call the highway to freedom. I mean, yes, highways, I think about freedom and I think about meeting these people in my life. People are connected generally through avenues, streets, dirt roads, highways. And at the end of the day, we all want to be able to have what we call that freedom. So here we have, again, the highway to freedom. Not all of you may have the exact story that I had to end up where I am today, but generally, everybody on the highway to freedom, we're looking to get to that same destination. Freedom, time freedom, financial freedom, mental freedom. So with that being said and done, I do want to give you guys our mission right here on the highway to freedom. And I have a little video prepared for you in regards, and we'll take it from there. One second, I just want to make sure we are connected correctly. Okay, we should all be able to hear it now.
Organization of champions battling the war on poverty together. We do not promote the love of money, but the understanding of money to enable our members to exit the rat race and stop accepting poverty as a normal way of life. We encourage our members to think for themselves, developing and exploring how to have money work for them so they can stop being a slave to money, living from paycheck to paycheck. We have read and understand the book 12 Commandments of Luck. Daily, we are learning, applying, and teaching the 3 basic wealth principles to others as we grow. Understanding how money works for the wealthy, which only 5% of the world's population has learned, and have the discipline to implement these principles into their lives, leaving 95% of the undisciplined living from paycheck to paycheck. Our mission as a team is to address and cure the stinking thinking taught in our school systems to get a job and work for someone your entire life for a paycheck that you could easily create for yourself. As a team, we challenge ourselves through self-development and motivation to learn the principles of wealth and not only apply them to our lives, but to teach people in our circle to do the same, striving to be a better you every day to create time to enjoy this thing called life and not working until we die. Embracing the work hard but play even harder philosophy, which will enable us to take our eyes off of ourselves to help others succeed as well through self-development and motivation. One team, one dream. Financial freedom. If you are a champion who is willing to learn, work, and share, we want to work with you and help you navigate this highway to freedom straight to the top.
Okay, so I gave you guys a great idea of our mission here on the highway to freedom. And today on the highway to freedom, as I bring up this Robert Kiyosaki's cash flow quadrant, we're so blessed to be able to have 2 opportunities that kind of marry together that put us in the business owner quadrant as well as the investor quadrant. As business owners, we have partnered with a company called National Wealth Center that's grossed over $250 million, that's passed 100% commissions directly from member to member, and we're powered as investors through the $5.3 trillion Forex markets. Now, some of you may be familiar with the terminology of Forex. Others of you may be familiar with the terminology of foreign exchange. But these 2 powerful industries today is what make up the highway to freedom. What I'm going to discuss with you guys, first of all, is that $5.3 trillion per day daily turnover foreign exchange markets. In order to do that, I have prepared a little video for you on that as well in regards to what is Forex. Here we go.
If you have ever traveled to a foreign country, you may have needed to exchange your money. If so, you have already participated in Forex trading. Forex is the short form of foreign exchange. Well, Forex is a bit more than that. For example, companies buy goods from other countries. In order to buy them, they need to obtain the local currency first, just like us when going on holiday. The difference is they will exchange huge amounts. When these companies exchange these huge amounts, they will actually move the price because the demand for the currency that they need increases. When the demand increases, the price increases. With all this exchanging going on around the world, the exchange rates constantly move. This is how it works. When currencies are exchanged, they have a certain price, the exchange rate. As in any market, the price of a currency is determined by the law of supply and demand. If there are many people or companies that want to change euros into dollars, the price of the dollar will rise against the euro, and so the exchange rate will change. Let's use an everyday example to explain how you can actually profit from this. Say you live in Europe and went on holiday to the United States. Let's say that you changed your 500 euros into US dollars at the rate of $1.4 for every euro. You got 700 US dollars, but you do not spend any money at all. So you still have $700 after you come back. After the exchange rate moved from 1.4 to 1.3, instead of getting just 500 euros back, you actually get 538.5 euros. You have gained 38.5 euros simply from holding your money in dollars while the exchange rate changed. This is essentially how we trade in the Forex market. We buy a certain amount of a currency, hold on to it whilst the exchange rate moves, then change it back, making money along the way. How to decide when the right time to buy and sell is exactly what we teach you throughout the rest of our learning lessons. As you can imagine, traveling a lot and saving a bit of money on your holiday budget and then exchanging it, it's not really a practical approach to trading currencies. Fortunately, there is an easier way to do this. You can trade currency through online exchange offices called brokers. What this means is that you can exchange currencies online throughout the day and take advantage of the constantly fluctuating exchange rates. Just as in the example of when you went on holiday, you can buy different currencies and make a profit as the exchange rates change. This is trading the Forex market. Trading Forex online with a broker has many benefits. You can trade Forex from your home or anywhere that you have an internet connection. The Forex market never sleeps. It is open 24 hours a day, 5 days a week, and so can suit your daily routine. You do not need a huge budget to get started. As little as $150 is enough to begin trading and building your account over time. Of course, it will require some learning until you get there, but this is exactly what Tradimo is here for, to help you learn how to.
Okay, so that was a video on what is Forex, and I have a little depiction in regards to Forex in comparison to some of the other major markets that are out here. As we take a look at this chart, we can see a lot of you have heard of the New York Stock Exchange, Wall Street, and we can see that the daily turnover in the New York Stock Exchange is about $50 billion per day. If we take a look at the UK markets, we can see that the UK markets is about a $2.2 trillion daily turnover per day. But then when we talk about the Forex, the foreign exchange market, we're talking about $5.3 trillion daily turnover per day. Now, one of the other benefits of the Forex market is that this is a 24-hour market. The market opened today at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But unlike the New York Stock Exchange, which opens at 9 o'clock in the morning and closes at 4 p.m. in the afternoon, the Forex market literally opens at 5 p.m. today, and it stays open, giving you the opportunity to compound profits and make money 24 hours a day until Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Another great benefit of the Forex markets, as we can see, is the leverage that you're afforded. So here on the Highway to Freedom, the broker that we deal with offers us 1 to 1,000 leverage to start off with. So that means for each of your $1 that you invest into the Forex market, it's actually worth $1,000 in the Forex market. So as you heard the guy say, you could start with $150 and compound those profits. It's because of the leverage that the brokers give you in order to invest. It's almost like borrowing money, if you want to say, or the money that you invest is worth much more, allowing you to make much more money as well as you invest into the Forex market. Now, it says volatility. It's also a highly volatile market. Me personally, I used to dibble and dabble in the stock market. I used to trade stocks. And I might invest in a stock company, and I would invest today, and I look maybe a year down the road, or 2 years down the road, or 6 months down the road, look to see a return on my investment. Well, because of the high volatility of the Forex markets, I could get into a position right now, let's just say, and within an hour or 2 hours or within a day or a week, look to see great returns on my investment because of the movement of the Forex market. I mean, we're talking about currency here. And if you think about money, money never stops moving. It's always moving. Matter of fact, let me pull up one of our charts. This is what a Forex chart looks like. And this is the daily chart of gold. XAU USD represents gold. Now, if I take a look at gold in a smaller time frame, we could maybe see, well, let's pull up another one of these currencies that moves, gives you volatility. This is the GBP, the Great British Pound versus the Canadian dollar. Just 1 second here. My computer's moving a little bit slower. But in general, my computer's moving slow, guys. Sorry about that. But in general, these markets are always moving up and down, up and down. Money is always moving. If you were to travel to a country, the value of your dollar versus whatever the country you're in is always moving. So by the time you leave that country, it might be worth a certain amount. By the time you arrive, it was worth something different because money is always moving. This chart, as we see, is the minute chart. So per minute, each different color of this candle, each one of these candles is a different minute. As you can see, this chart over here is moving as we speak right now, because the value of money is always changing. It's always moving. Money is always working. That's the volatility of the market. Now, those who have positioned themselves to be able to invest in the foreign exchange markets, they're making profits on the movement of this money, which never stops working, which never stops moving. You just saw it again. If you're looking at that chart, you just saw that value move again. It's moving as we speak right now, okay? Okay, let's bring back up this, here we go. So the volatility allows you to make money much faster than, let's say, the stock market. There are 37 major pairs. The other beautiful benefit of the foreign exchange market is the ability to be able to go long or short. So when they say long or short, generally in the stock market, you invest in a company. As the company increases in value, you make money. As the company decreases in value, you lose money. The beautiful part about the Forex market, it doesn't matter whether the currency value is going up or going down. As long as you're making the correct decision. For example, if the market is going up, if you're buying the market, you're making money. If the market is going down, you're making money, regardless whether it's going up or down. That's why they say the ability to go long or short. You still have the ability to make money. And what hits home to me, what I like most about the foreign exchange market, as you heard the guy say on the video, is no matter where you are in the world, as long as you have an internet connection, you're able to make money. As I present this webinar to you guys tonight, yes, I'm from Brooklyn, New York. I'm from the United States, but I'm sitting in Medellin, Colombia for the past month. And for the past month, I've been making money in the foreign exchange markets. I've been in Mexico. I've been all over the world traveling and vacationing. And each place I go, as long as I have an internet connection, I'm able to make money, which has given me the ability to get free of the self-employed or any type of job because of the foreign exchange markets, which is what I love the most about the opportunity that we have to invest right here on the highway to freedom. Okay? So, on the highway to freedom, we've been investing and learning about the foreign exchange market since February of 2016. And when that group of individuals, we started, it was about maybe about 9 or 10 of us that said, hey, we found out about this foreign exchange, this Forex market, the ability to be able to make money from wherever we are. I mean, we can stay home as long as we have an internet connection. We can make money from the foreign exchange market, a $5.3 trillion industry. And we started off in February of last year, like I said. And through that time up until now, yes, last year we were learning and we took our lumps and our bumps and, we were able to communicate with each other. And, sometimes we were making a lot of money. Sometimes we were losing money through the process of learning the skill set. And we started to open it out to the public. We even partnered with different companies that were teaching Forex, and we brought on more people. But the thing is that we would see some people fall off Forex, and believe it or not, Forex, most like 90% of people fail, and 10% of people too are introduced to. Some were learning, but most were not. I can have anything in the world that we always believe the fact that we want to be able to help people master this foreign exchange market, this Forex market. And like I said, we took our lumps and our bumps. It took us a while to learn this market, but near the end of 2016, we started to see consistent growth, consistent profits. In a minute, I'm going to give you guys some of the testimonials that will blow your mind that we're creating right here on the highway to freedom. But it all started through that year of us learning and mastering this skill set. So once we got to a point where we were seeing those consistent profits, lifestyles were being able to be changed. I mean, even me personally, I was able to get away from being able at that regular job or that life insurance company that I was working with. I have a partner that I work with who took an account from $200 to over $50,000 at this current point in time. I mean, when we started seeing that type of success, we said there has to be a way that we can help the general public with this platform that we have. So what we did, we created what we call a signals channel. Now, what a signals channel allows us to do is play the game that most of us played as little children called follow the leader. Now, before I go into about that follow the leader game and the signals channel, let me tell you this. 10 years ago, the foreign exchange market, or Forex as they call it, it was not open to the general public. It was a game that most big industries, big banks, big insurance companies, people that were rich, had a lot of money, they played that game. It wasn't open to the general public. I mean, just to get started in the Forex market, you had to have at least $25,000 just to get started. But with technology, with the World Wide Web, with smartphone technology, it had been open to the general public. So now, in this day of time, let me pull up another screenshot for you guys. Now, in this day of time, this is what they call the MetaTrader 4 app that you guys can literally download on your phone right now if you attempted to. With technology such as this, you're able to trade the foreign exchange market right from your cell phone. So what we decided to do, getting back to that follow leader game, we decided to open up that signals channel. What the signal channel is, basically our profitable traders on the highway to freedom, whatever trade that we're taking that allows us to make the type of money that we're making here, we put it out to the masses. Now, there's another app out here called Telegram that allows the folks who join us on the highway to freedom to conversate, motivate each other. You guys just heard our mission statement, and the guy said, through self-development and through motivation, we grow. So that Telegram app allows us to communicate, motivate each other, put out positive messages, especially in a world where there's so much negativity out here. It allows you to have a space where there's nothing but positivity. Through that app, we communicate, but we also have a separate channel in which we put out the signals or the positions that we take in the Forex market. For example, let's show you another screenshot. In this case right here, we were selling a currency pair called the euro versus the Swiss franc. We put out the price that we took the position and the equity based on the amount of money that you have in your investment account. So what I'm trying to say is that we have people that's literally really don't know much about how to trade, but we've set up a system where people are able to earn money as they learn. So you heard me talk about originally we set it up for people to learn, and not everybody was able to grasp it and people would fall off. It gives me goosebumps to this day to think about how our platform is growing and the people are coming and coming on, because we have people who literally know nothing about maybe what they're doing, but they're making money by playing the game of follow the leader, by simply following the positions or the trades that our profitable traders are taking in the foreign exchange markets with this signal channel that we have, allowing us to, like I said, earn as you learn. Okay, so this was the position that we took. When it's time for us to take profits, we also put out another signal. It tells you to, like in this case, it says close the US dollar versus the Japanese yen. It was the second position, and we closed out on 61 pips of profit. We're going to talk about pips a little bit later in the presentation. But if you had a standard account with us, that one position alone, which might have took us a week, 2 weeks, whatever the case might have been, it could have been a few hours. But in that 61 pips profit with a standard account, we're talking about $610. This is another position that we closed on the euro versus the Swiss franc. And it was 20 pips profit, which would have been about $200 with a standard account. Again, guys, the beautiful part about this, we have folks literally turning their cell phones into ATM machines. I mean, people are taking less time to make money on their cell phones than they are by being on Facebook or any of these other social media outlets out here, by simply playing the game that we all played as kids called follow the leader. We have leaders on the highway to freedom who's put the time in to learn and master and become profitable traders consistently in the Forex market. And because they have that philosophy of helping others, they lend their knowledge out to the masses by simply spreading whatever they trade. If they take a position on the US dollar versus the Japanese yen, they share it with the masses. Okay? So yeah, I'm talking about this, but as we know, documentation always beat conversation. Matter of fact, let's see who we have on the line tonight. Maybe I'll be able to get out a few testimonials. Now, okay, I see we have a couple of people that's been on our platform for a little while, that's been profitable with us. And I did not warn these people that I was calling on them tonight to give a testimony or talk about what they've done in the past weeks or the past months. But I see we have on Miss Barbara Mathis. Miss Barbara, if you're listening, if you're live with us, I'm going to unmute you. And maybe you could let the folks who's joining with us tonight give a little bit about your story and what you've been able to do here on the Highway to Freedom by simply following those signals that we put out. Miss Mathis, can you hear me? Are you with us on tonight?
I'm here.
Oh,
and
awesome.
I'm very excited. I am very excited. I've been with the group for about a month and a half. I went live maybe about 2.5 weeks ago, and I am $42 short of my first $1,000.
Wow, 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 wow. That's awesome. So you went live, you said about did you say about 2.5 weeks ago?
Yeah, about 2.5 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago,
Wow.
I went live.
So in about 3 weeks, whatever you invested, you've been able to make $1,000 within about 2.5 weeks. Thank you, Barbara. Thank you, Barbara. Thank you, Barbara. I appreciate your testimony. Like I said, guys, I didn't warn Barbara that I was going to call on her tonight, but in about 2.5 weeks, she's made $1,000. I know some people that don't make that at their regular jobs, and all she's simply doing is following those signals. Now, as I scroll down our list of attendees tonight, I see we have Miss Alina Scarlett. Miss Alina Scarlett, can you hear me? Alina, can you hear me? Okay. Maybe she, okay. I see we have Mr. Lawrence. Well, I'll save him. He's coming on. Okay. Well, there you go. There you have it. Now, to give you guys a little bit more of our testimonials, we also have a Facebook group where a lot of times our teammates, you know, it's a Facebook group. A lot of you guys are familiar with Facebook. You know how it works. But we have a separate group just for what we're doing here. And a lot of times our members will share their testimonials right there in our Facebook group. And as I pull this up, give me a second. Okay, as I pull this up, I can kind of scroll down and give you some of the testimonies of what our teammates are doing. This is one of our guys here. Oh boy, give me a second, guys. Let me just, give me 1 second here, 1 second. And if you ever get a chance, you can look up Highway to Freedom FX to join. You could actually join our Facebook group and you can see a lot of those testimonials. But while we're on this webinar, I just want to give you a couple of examples of the testimonials that we're creating by people simply following our signals. This
Shane?
is one of our, hello?
Shane, can you hear me?
Yes, is that Alina?
Yes, I'm sorry, I couldn't hear the audio.
Okay, you can hear it now?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Sorry.
Okay, Alina, you're one of our members here on the Highway to Freedom. You're doing an outstanding job. I mean, you've been growing with us in a tremendous way. Maybe you could give the guys a little bit about your testimony and what you've been able to do here with us on the Highway to Freedom.
Sure. Hi, my name is Elena Scarlett. I've been with Highway to Freedom for about three and a half months. And it's an awesome program. We have awesome leadership. I simply follow the signals that Shane puts out. And my initial profit, I started initially with $300. And now to date, I have about $4,500 in my account. And it's just an awesome program, and I love it. Great community. Anytime you need information, all the leaders are willing and able to support and supply such an abundance of information. And if you're on tonight, I encourage you to continue to come to the webinars. It's great information. And once again, thank you.
Thank you, Alina. Thank you. Again, guys, I didn't warn Alina or Barbara that I was going to call on them. So, you know, we're kind of just going off the cusp here. One of the things about the Highway to Freedom, we like to really be natural. We don't try to create this facade or whatever the case might be. But Alina, let me ask you, you said you started with $300 and you're about $4,500 at this point in time. How long have you been going live with the account that you've been investing with us with and following those signals? Okay. Well, if I'm not mistaken, Alina has started with us going live in about April, May, June. So in about 2 months, Alina's going from $300 to about $4,500, guys. I don't care what, you can't get these type of returns on your investments by putting your money in a savings account at your bank. I mean, not in a 401k, or you're going to go from $300 to $4,500 in 2 months. But this is the beautiful part about that investor side of that cash flow quadrant that we are able to take advantage of with the Forex market here, okay? I encourage you guys to check out our Facebook group, Highway to Freedom FX. As I see one of the testimonials here, this is a young man that's on our team called King Aziz. This was last week. Yesterday, he posted this testimonial. He said another $750 in profits for the week from my phone. Can't beat that with a stick. You see what I'm saying, guys? When we talk about turning your cell phones into an ATM machine, I worked with this guy, King Aziz, selling life insurance. He joined us, and literally he follows our signals, and he's at that point where he's making $750 in a week. Guys, King Aziz started in February with $100. This last week, King Aziz crossed the $8,000 mark with his investment account from February to now, starting with $100. If I scroll down a little bit more in our Facebook group, let's see what else we have here. We have a young lady named her name is Fumi. She's on our team. She said last week was a slow week, but money nonetheless. A slow week for Fumi was $535 that week. Again, I know people that don't make that at their jobs in a week. And all Fumi had to do was go to her job and look at her cell phone and turn her cell phone into an ATM machine and make $535. I mean, I know so many people on their social medias bumping into people, almost getting hit by cars by paying attention to their cell phones. Why not turn your cell phone into an ATM machine? Okay? So one of our goals here on the Highway to Freedom when it comes to earning profits, our major goal is to be able to earn an average 5% per day on our investments, 25% a week, and ultimately we look to double our investments on a monthly basis. The magic is called compounding. So guys, you can do the math in your own calculators. If you were to take $200 and double it per month for a year, we're talking about from $200, you would be over $800,000 in 12 months. Now, you just heard me talk about a young man on our team who went from $200 in October, and he's over $50,000 at this point in time. And you're going to hear from him a little bit later in our presentation. But to give you the example, just give you a little more documentation about this, because like I say, documentation always beats the conversation. And in order for us here on the Highway to Freedom to be able to double our accounts on a monthly basis, we need to be able to earn an average 250 pips per week. Now, we're going to talk about the pips again a little bit later in this presentation. But we need, again, to be able to double our investment in the Forex market, we need to be able to average 250 pips. So this right here demonstrates what we've done since we opened this platform at the 3rd week of this year, of 2017. This yellow line, if you follow this yellow line all the way down, this is our pip count. So the 3rd week of the year is 250. Then we went to 648, 479. Let me just scroll down our Excel sheet where we document. 479, 306, 446, 292. I'm just going to scroll down. You guys can take a look for yourself and see what we're earning here on the Highway to Freedom. Now, if we were to add this up, matter of fact, let me just open up my notebook. If you guys can see me now, I'm looking at my notes here. If we were to add up all of these numbers that we've earned so far for the year of 2017, we're at the 25th week, or 26th week to be exact. Within the last 23 weeks of opening this platform out to the public, we've put out 9,771 pips. That means we're averaging 424.82 pips per week. So our goal is 250 pips to be able to double our investments on a monthly basis. I'm so proud to say that the success we're having here on the Highway to Freedom is pretty much almost letting us double what our goal is. Nonetheless, our goal is still 250 pips because we'd rather under-promise but over-deliver, okay? So that's my presentation on the Forex market and what we're actually doing here on the Highway to Freedom and some of the testimonials that we're creating and how we even arrived at this point. You guys, going back to this chart in regard to Robert Kiyosaki, because the whole idea is to, be investors, but we also have married with a company that allowed us to also become business owners. So I'm so proud to be able to pass the mic over to a business partner of mine, a friend of mine, a successful Forex trader of mine, a man who started at the beginning of the Highway to Freedom, who actually put in the time to learn and master this skill set. You just heard me talk about a man who from October to now took an investment account in the Forex market from $200 to over $50,000 to this day. You just heard me talk about this man. His name is Lawrence Martin, and I have the privilege to be able to pass the mic over to him to talk about the next segment of our opportunity. 1 second, let me see. Lawrence, are you there? Can you hear me?
Oh, of course, I'm here, Shane. How are you doing tonight, my brother?
I'm doing awesome, brother. All right.
Okay. Thank you for that great welcome. But Shane, one thing before I take the share, could you go back to that Facebook?
Yes, sir.
Go back to Facebook. Go back
Okay.
to Aziz. Go back to Aziz.
Okay. Let me scroll back up to Aziz.
Yes, because you didn't mention this part. Stop right there. Guys, what I want you to look at is look at where King Aziz is posting from. Mount Zion, Jamaica.
Yes.
He's actually, if you guys know about it, he's on the Digicel network. That only operates in the Caribbean.
Yes.
So you know, he's sitting in Jamaica right now on vacation. King Aziz is actually from Brooklyn, New York. He's from Brooklyn, New York.
You're
He's
right,
from the
Doc.
112.
You're right.
And he's sitting on vacation in Jamaica.
$750
$750
on vacation.
On vacation.
Yeah.
Guys, literally turning your phone into an ATM anywhere you are.
Mm-hmm.
Anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Right now, I've already closed off about the market actually opened at 5 o'clock this afternoon. It's 9, almost 10 o'clock now. In 5 hours, I just closed off $482.
Wow.
$482 just for this afternoon.
Wow.
Right? But anyway, that was Shane's part. Let me do my part. And Shane, thank you so much. Thank you so much for that beautiful introduction. And guys, you know, Shane is actually my mentor. He's my mentor. Shane has been helping me along. We're going on almost 3 years. We started off together in the life insurance business. We went on the highway to freedom. As he said before, you know, we were doing different things, trading stocks, network marketing, this, that, the other, because we were always looking for that edge. You know, we want to be on that right side of that quadrant all the time. Investors, business owners. All right. And, you know, I'm so happy that Shane introduced me to it. But I have one problem with it. It took him too long to introduce it to me after he found it. All right. But he did it. I'm here. So, most importantly, I like to start with what I love to call my mantra. The more people I can help get what they want out of life, the more I am going to achieve in mine. I truly, truly believe and live that. Anybody who's on my team, they'll tell that to you. All right? I'm there for my people every day because that's what brings me happiness. Right? Like you heard Miss Barbara Mattis. Miss Barbara is on my team. And, you know, she's an awesome student. She listens well. She's going to go far in this. And why I bring it up is because I am so happy to be there helping Miss Barbara. Every time she closes a trade, she'll call me, she'll text me, she'll send me a message on the Telegram. Lawrence, I just did this. Lawrence, I just did. And that brings the joy to my day because I know I am actually helping somebody to make their life better. So, as we said, I'm here to deal with us being the business owner side of this. All right. And we actually happened, as Shane said, we partnered up with this group called National Wealth Center. National Wealth Center is a company I've been on for about the last 16 years. They're based in Midtown Manhattan. And for this last 16 years, well, National Wealth Center is about 13 years. The company is about 16 years old. And within the last 13 years, they have passed over $250 million, 250 million and counting, to members pass from person to person 100% commission. So you guys heard Shane talk about us sending those signals out to you. Right? Now, we could have, as a leadership, the people who sit here, find those and send it out to you. We could have said, well, okay, you pay us $100 a month. I'm very sure you guys would be just happy to pay that $100 a month, knowing that you are making a lot. You're making $100 back in a couple of days. So the rest of the month is profit. You'll be happy to do that, I'm sure. But we are not about that. We are about helping everyone on this team to strive for more better. And before I go into this, I like to take the second part of our business. It's not a must, but it's a plus. You know, so like other businesses where you do network marketing, like I've been involved in network marketing since I was 22 years old. I just turned 53 2 weeks ago. So we're looking at what? 33, 34 years in network marketing. And what I love about this is means of gaining residual income of being a business owner. And surprisingly, when I got involved in this, I had no intentions of network marketing this. I said, I'll just be there. I'll trade, make my money. I don't care about building a team. But guess what? A lot of us started like that. But guess what happens? When you find something that is doing good for you, you are, and I'm telling you are, unless you're a hermit sitting on a hill, you are going to tell a friend or a family member about this. Right? And that's actually where the affiliate program comes in. Right? So as I was saying before, just as, you know, we're sending the signals out to you. Right? But really, as I said, we could have been charging you for the signals with no return on it. You'll be happy because you're making a return on the Forex. But this is what we actually did. By teaming up with National Wealth Center to get those signals coming to your phone as we do them, you are going to have to pay $109.95 per month. Of that $109.95, $9.95 is the administration fee goes to NWC. All right. The next $100, it is passed directly from person to person, as we said before. So that $1 every month is going to be passed you to your sponsor. All right. So now, as I was saying before, you are, again, unless you're a hermit sitting on a hill, you are going to tell somebody about this program. And guess what happens? When they join the program, they are going to be paying that $100 a month directly to you. So You're paying $100 a month to your sponsor. Your friend is paying $100 a month to you. Do you realize what happens there? All right. 100 you to your sponsor, 100 your friend to you. How much money is coming out of your pocket on a monthly basis to pay to get your signals? All right. So basically, we like to say around here, one, and it's free. By bringing in that first friend, you are actually basically getting your signals coming to you every time we send them out for free, because your friend's paying $100 a month for you, right? I'm very sure you're not going to stop at one friend. This is where it starts to get beautiful. So you see, just right here, I'm showing you that you're bringing your first 4 people in. And this is how it's going to work. Number 1 and number 3 person that you brought in fact, right here, everybody you're seeing in green is going to be paying you directly. Right? Your number 2 and your number 4 persons, you're going to pass up to your sponsor. I know this is about the time people start looking at me out of the side of their eyes like, wait, so I brought 4 people in here, I have to pass 2 up to my sponsor? Yes, but guess what's happening? Right here, you pass those 2 up, you keep those 2, you're making an income $200 a month, an extra $200 a month. I mean, that may sound like nothing to some people, right? But look what happens here. That number 1 and the number 3 person that you kept, they have to pass up to you their number 2 and their number 4 people, right? Giving you an extra $400 of income every month. So at this level, you're making $600 a month in extra income. Yeah, some people 600 mightn't sound much about them. You know, it mightn't sound like too much, but think about if you can be investing this $600 every month into your Forex trading, right? And doubling that every month, right? Well, let's say 500, sorry, because one of those are going to be paying for your signals, right? But let's just continue. Those 4 people who gave you is going to give you their second and fourth persons as we go along. All right. So right there, you're looking at $1,400 a month in extra income. All right. $1,400 a month in income. All right. I know that some of you out there that might be a run check. All right. But I know there's a question on everybody's mind. I know you're waiting to ask me. But Lawrence, I have more than 4 friends. I have a lot of people who could benefit from this program. Everybody who I know needs a little extra income in their life. Everybody I know needs to invest in their future. They need to take care of their retirement. They need to, do whatever they want. They need to live that life. So I know I have more than 4 people I could bring in here. Guess what happens? From number 5 right here to infinity, they are all coded back to you. Whether you have 5, 8, 10, 15, 20 people that you showed this to, and they came in here, you are only going to ever pass up your 7th and your 4th. And everybody who pays you directly is going to pass up their 2nd and their 4th to you. Guys, just think about this. You brought people in here And now you have, let's say, 50 people in your group. 50 people in your group pay you $100 every month. We talk about $5,000 every month. All right. Now, isn't that some life-changing money? All right. And you know that 50 is soon going to turn into 100, right? $10,000 a month. Right. So the other thing I like to show you, NWC. Right. And I like to say it this way. Another way to make money is to save money. I am big into saving money. I do couponing. All right. A lot of people look at me and laugh. But I love my coupons. All right. I'm glad when, for instance, yesterday I went with my wife, we went food shopping, we went to BJ's. And we, obviously it was my turn to pay the bill the BJ's bill this week. So when we were done, the bill came up, I think it was $109, $110. And the way I like to do it is all those little BJ's coupons that I get, when they give me that price and the cashier tells me, $109. I hand her my coupons. Yeah, give me some money back. All right. Right here, just being a member of National Wealth Center. National Wealth Center has an app that we call My Deals. Now, with My Deals, it's an app on your phone. You simply put your zip code in wherever you are at. Sometimes it could be like on vacation. You put your zip code in, right? And you are going to see all types of savings around you, whether it be hotel rooms, gym membership, food, right? Just getting that extra money back. Because another way we make money is to save money, right? So, as we were speaking about this, I'm sorry. Speaking about this and being on the right-hand side of that quadrant, right? So we're talking about being a business owner and being an investor, right? One of the things I love to talk about here is the benefits of having a home-based business, of being that business owner, right? So we have the ability to earn extra income, which is what I'm sure every one of us listening right now, we're listening because that's what we're going to do, earn some extra income, right? And we don't want to be trading our dollars for hours. We don't need a second job. We don't need something that we're doing that is going to take away from our time freedom. You know, the time that we have to do the things that we want to do. Spend time with our kids. All right? Spend time with your loved ones. Go on vacations. You know, just like King as is, making money from wherever you are in the world. All right? My favorite part about being a business owner is the tax breaks. All right? I love the country. I love my USA. But hey, how much of us really love paying taxes? Right? And the reason why we get those tax breaks is because there's a tax difference between being an employee and being a business owner. So I'm sure most of you listen to me are employees, right? So you're accustomed looking at that paycheck that starts with a nice figure to the front, starts with a nice figure to the beginning, and then you see all your uncles with the handouts, FICA, this one, that one, the other. So as an employee, you earn your money, you pay taxes, and then you spend what remains. Then you spend, right? I'm sure you heard the term where people say that your boss pays less taxes than you do. No, it may not be figuratively dollar amount, but percentage-wise, because a business owner, he earns, he spends, and then he pays taxes on what is left. Right? Therefore, he has more disposable income than you because they take it from the employee. But as a business owner, you give it to them. So I kind of want to wrap up my part right here, and I'm going to bring on my good friend and colleague who has helped me so much on this journey, both where Forex is concerned, where building business is concerned, even in my personal life with my health. You know, my friend Femi shoots me ever so regular, all different things about my health, because this is how he always tells me. What sense it is that you're making all this money to live a better life, to have that time freedom, have all of that, and your health not in the right place. So now you die and leave all this money behind. All right, so he helps me more ways than one. He's somebody I look up to because he's another brother on this team that believes the more that I help somebody else get what they want out of life, the more I'm going to get in my life. So I'd like to introduce you guys to Mr. Femi Odoni. Femi, are you there?
Yes, I am. Thank you very much for that introduction. I appreciate that very much. It is a pure pleasure to work with two gentlemen such as Saint and Lawrence as far as the Highway to Freedom is concerned, because it's obviously a daily situation. We talk very often, and most importantly, we definitely love sharing the information, making sure that people are on the right track, making money, but more importantly, getting the education. So I kind of wrap up the seminar. I'm not going to actually take too long. As usual, I have a video to actually show tonight. In the video, it's going to basically go over some things. So over the last 2 weeks, I've been going over the power of, you know, financial education and how powerful it can be. So last week I showed someone, obviously, who was in a bad situation. They were in prison, and financial education actually changed his life while he was in prison. And, you know, he turned his whole life around. And it's probably going to be one of the main reasons that he's going to be getting out early and having a new leaf on life. My whole thing is that financial education is an extremely important thing, and it's something that you definitely have to invest in. But once you do, your life is never the same. So without further ado, I'm actually going to go ahead and show this video. Whoever has the share, if I can get it real quick, I appreciate it.
All yours, sir.
All right, thank you. So like I said, I'm actually going to show this particular video and kind of get into a couple of things afterward and then wrap everything up for everyone, okay? So stay tuned and we're going to play now.
Number 10, Sharon Tirabassi. Sharon Tirabassi is one typical lottery winner who blew it all. She cashed a check for 10.5 million Canadian dollars in 2004. Sharon spent her winnings on designer clothes, exotic trips, lavish parties, loans to friends, and other big-ticket items that she didn't really need, like a $200,000 Cadillac. It took her less than a decade to lose it all and go back to working part-time, riding the bus, and living in a rented house. The house is gone, the car is gone. The only thing that isn't are her kids, who Sharon is now struggling to support with her low-income job. Number 9, Suzanne Mullins. Suzanne Mullins won the lottery back in 1993 and opted for yearly payouts instead of a lump sum. She planned on splitting the 20 annual payments of $47,800 with her husband and daughter. However, within 5 years, she'd found herself in debt and used her future payouts as collateral for a $200,000 loan. Mullins later switched to a lump sum payout, but never paid back her debts. The loan company filed suit and won judgment for a $154,000 settlement, but they haven't collected anything because Mullins reportedly has no assets. She blamed the debt on the lengthy illness of her uninsured son-in-law, who needed $1 million for medical bills. Number 8, Ken Proxmire. Ken Proxmire, a machinist from Michigan, won $1 million in the 1977 Michigan lottery. Proxmire used his winnings to indulge his inner entrepreneur. He moved to California and went into the car business with his brothers. It took him 5 years to lose it all and file for bankruptcy. Well, his life's simple now, with no big talks of riding in limos or owning a helicopter. He's back to his old life and is a machinist again. Number 7, Willie Hurt. Willie Hurt is an example of good things happening to bad people. Prior to 1989, Willie Hurt was a happily married family man who was fairly well known in his community. But all that changed when he won $3.1 million in the Michigan lottery. Within 2 years, Hurt separated from his wife, lost custody of his children, blew through his fortune, and was charged with attempted murder. His lawyer claimed all the money went towards Hurt's messy divorce and his crack cocaine addiction. Number 6, Alex and Rhonda Toth. Florida couple Alex and Rhonda Toth hit the jackpot in 1990 when they won $13 million in the Florida lottery. They were broke by 2006 due to court fees. Winning the money had caused a rift in the family that resulted in tons of legal drama and expenses. Alex was even arrested numerous times for growing marijuana plants and for writing bad checks between 2002 and 2005. They were down to living in a tiny trailer on a half-acre of land. Their only electricity coming from a power cord that was rigged up to their car engine. Alex died while awaiting trial for tax evasion. Rhonda tried to dodge the feds by claiming she was too ill to stand trial. Unfortunately for her, agents videotaped her moving around without the aid of crutches or a wheelchair. She was sentenced to 2 years in prison and ordered to pay $1.1 million to the IRS. Number 5, Janite Lee. Janite Lee, the 52-year-old woman, landed an $18 million payout from the Missouri lottery back in 1993. She immediately began to contribute chunks of her wealth to various educational programs, community services, and political organizations. Besides the usual $1 million house and cars, Lee reportedly donated more than $1 million to Washington University, where her namesake reading room commemorates the occasion. She reportedly donated $277,000 to Democratic political candidates, earning herself meals with Bill Clinton, Al Gore, and even the president of South Korea. She didn't stop there. $30,000 went to the family of a South Korean church pastor who had passed away. The St. Louis Korean American Association received a house from her. Another Korean adoption-related association also benefited. Lee's philanthropy was expensive, but combined with her gambling habit, she lost $350,000 in a single year just for bank loans and credit card debts. Number 4.
So basically, I just wanted to go over that. A lot of people don't know, but maybe some do. A lot of people who win the lottery within 18 to 24 months actually wind up filing for bankruptcy or in worse situations. The reason why I showed that video tonight is to actually show you the opposite of what I've been showing for the first 2 weeks, that, you know, financial education, when it's on your side, is a very powerful thing. But when it's not on your side, it can be a detriment. So at the end of the day, I showed that particular video. And this video also goes into a lot of other things. So you have a lot of sports athletes who make millions of dollars, and they actually get a pension. I know for the NBA, it's almost like $600,000 is their pension when they retire. And a lot of those gentlemen also file for bankruptcy anywhere from 24 to 36 months after retiring from the sport. So what is the reason why all of these people who have more than enough money, if they simply just invest the interest alone, that's causing them to lose this type of money? It all comes down to mindset and financial education. So I'm going to get into what I want to get in tonight. Highway to Freedom, the lane that leads to freedom. is one of our mottos. And I'm just going to go over the 3 things that I picked out from the video. You may have picked out a couple of other things, but these are things that I definitely want to point out. So lack of financial education leads to lack of good financial decisions. In other words, AKA poor financial decisions. What you saw in the common theme of, and it was a list of 10, but, you know, for time's sake, I wasn't going to show the whole thing. So I went over, you know, the first 5, because they actually get worse as you get to number 1, as you can imagine. What you saw was the common theme there. Spending first, no savings, lending out money is a poor mindset. If they had just did this scenario where they invested, reinvested, which is what we do in Forex and in the Highway to Freedom, which I'll show you how we do that, save some off to the side, then you can finally spend. Then this is the scenario, if repeated, basically now is going to lead to prosperity, because you invest, reinvest. So you have a double investment here. So that means the money that you just made is moving again before you ever think about even spending over here at the end. So that's what I call money velocity, because your money is always moving. So if it's always moving, and the reason why it needs to always move is because we got this thing out here called inflation. So in other weeks, I've covered something that in 1974, Nixon took us off the gold standard. So people may say, okay, Femi, what's the big deal about that? That was so long ago. But that is and was the reason why we have inflation today. An English muffin in 1960 costs, you know, 20, 30 cents. In the supermarket today, it's almost close to $3.99. Why is that? It's the same English muffin, same nooks and crannies. The English muffin didn't change. So why did the price go from cents to, you know, almost $4.99 or so? It's because of inflation. So if inflation never stops, then your money can't stop either, because you have to at least catch up with it just to keep the same amount of purchasing power inside your wallet. And this is a big, big, big key factor why people say that they never get ahead. Is because inflation is always behind them, chasing them down, you know, right on their back. So if you don't keep ahead of just inflation, forget getting ahead, just inflation, meaning of the things that we're buying on an everyday basis, food, insurance, car payments, mortgages, all the bills that most people take care of on a daily basis, those things usually don't go down, they go up. So if that's the case, you have to have an investment that keeps up with that increase. That just makes sense. So this formula right here, which is the one that we believe in, the Highway to Freedom, allows you to now get ahead of inflation and then now blow it away and speed up way beyond it. And then also get your time freedom back and your financial freedom back. But most importantly, increase your financial IQ. So you never go back to this type of concept, or you never even start this type of concept like you saw in those unfortunate lotto winners, which is why I titled my focus tonight, basically almost winning to lose. The second thing that I saw there as well is you pass down poverty. So if you stay with this mindset up here, it's a no wonder some people are going to pass down this mentality to their children. And that's why poverty tends to stay in the family. Just like on the other side of the coin, wealth tends to stay in their family if they follow this formula here. So this is not, you know, a coincidence. You follow who, you know, you're growing up by, the patterns that you see. So if you allow someone to break this pattern here, even if they had got into this pattern here and they had won that money, they were known to stay with this type of concept and not up here. The third and final thing I saw is poor or prosperous mindset leads to a certain attitude. That attitude leads to certain actions, and it leads to results. So this is the same formula, whether someone wants to go down the bad road of poor mindset or the prosperous. It's all about your mindset in the beginning that starts this formula. It can either be poor or it can be prosperous. The choice is up to you. If it's poor, you're going to follow this. If it's prosperous, you're going to follow the green here. It's just that simple, because that now is going to give you a certain attitude and a certain relationship with money. And that relationship with money is going to lead to certain actions, which invest, reinvest, save, then spend. And that's going to lead to long-lasting results. Now, I'm going to end with a couple of tidbits about the lottery that the video didn't cover, but I found that was interesting. How much money do lottery winners give away to friends and family? Spending millions of dollars all on your own is not as much fun as sharing the wealth. A study of 3,000 British winners who won $1 million or more found that a staggering 1.8 billion was handed over to friends and family. You see this right up here? This whole lending out of money, because 9 times out of 10, when you lend to friends and family, you're not going to get it back. And that's money that could have been reinvested. And then when the end of the month comes, it's like, oh man, everything is so tight. Not really. That money went out the window, lending out too much when people know they didn't really have it. Because you have to have a certain mindset in order to follow this particular pathway. Another quick tidbit. How much do winners spend on vacations? Hopping on a jet and heading off to a luxury vacation is a lot easier when you got millions in the bank. That same study of millionaire winners found that they spent some $33 million on vacation, with the average trip costing about $11,000. Okay, another lottery tip. How many new homes were purchased by the lottery? Over 8,000, and paid off 3,700 mortgages for friends and family. Once again, the lending mindset without investing or reinvesting first. How often are lotto winners buying new cars? In addition to homes, the winners in British study also snapped up more than 17 cars. The average purchase of a cool $73,000 per car on average. Okay, interesting fact. How many lottery winners go broke within 5 years? Winning a lottery is a long shot, but holding on to the money is the real challenge. In one study of Florida winners, 70% of them had spent every last dime of their jackpot within 5 years. This is a huge stat right here. It's the one that I was referring to. What percentage of lotto winners eventually file for bankruptcy? It's hard to imagine filing for bankruptcy after winning thousands or even millions of dollars. But that's exactly what happens in some cases. Statistically, 1% of lotto winners in Florida study went bankrupt annually. Another huge stat. And the final one, are big winners more likely than small winners to lose it all? Winning more or less money doesn't impact the odds of going broke in the long term. In the Florida study, winners who took home between $50,000 and $150,000 were half as likely to file bankruptcy in the first 2 years, but once they got to the 3rd or the 5th year mark, the frequency was the same. What does this tell you? This tell you that basically it's one of those situations where it doesn't really matter about that. So I'm not going to keep everyone tonight. I'm actually going to wrap this up. Basically, if you're new to the Highway to Freedom on this webinar tonight, I'm actually just going to go over the 3 questions that the person who invited you on is going to actually be looking for the answers for. You heard a lot of information tonight, and I know it's a lot to take in, but these questions are ones that you definitely want to write down. The first one is, does your money wake up before you, or do you have to wake up to get more money? The second is, does your money work for you or when you're not? So what that means is, does your money work for you when you're not working? So for example, tomorrow's Monday. If I want to take off or spend time with family, things of this nature, are you still going to make the same amount of money as if you went into work? Whether that you are self-employed or whether you work, you know, for someone else. The third and final question, many people work overtime, but does your money work overtime for you? And if yes, how many times per week? So these are three critical questions. It's something that most people really don't think about, but I hope that our webinar tonight actually allowed you to think about. So based off that, I'm basically pretty much wrapped up. These are the questions that if you wrote them down, the person who invited you on the line is actually going to be looking for the response, because that's going to let us know if the Highway to Freedom is the right fit for you. I want to thank everybody for their time, for actually taking the time out to listen to the webinar. Like I said, one of my favorite quotes is, your mind is like a parachute. It only works if it's open. Thanks for your time tonight. My name is Femi Odenisi. I'm on the Highway to Freedom, and I'm definitely looking for company. With that being said, I want to actually turn it over to Shane, and he's going to wrap everything up for tonight. Thank you.
Awesome job, Femi and Lawrence. As you guys can see, why it's such a pleasure to be able to work with these leaders here on the Highway to Freedom. Two guys that I've learned a lot from through our growth here. And as you can see, you know, these are the type of the guys that it seems like every type of conversation, doesn't matter if it's business or it's personal, I definitely grow from that conversation. So it's a pleasure to work with you, gentlemen. And thanks for presenting that information. So guys, usually at this point of our presentation, I meet three different type of people. A is the person who says, hey, I see what's going on. I understand, and I'm ready to get started if I'm going to be one of those ones that's selected to join the platform. B is the person that says, yes, I see what's going on, but I still have a couple of questions that came up, and I want to have those questions answered. And like we said, we're going to give you the opportunity to have those questions answered. And C is the person that says, yes, I see what you guys are doing. You're making money. You're growing. It's so positive. But this money-making thing is just not for me. And if you're that C person, all I can say is that we're going to see you later. But if you're that B or that A person, expect a phone call from the person that invited you on to our special opportunity overview webinar. Get those questions answered. If you are a candidate who's selected to be a part of our platform, I definitely look forward to seeing you on the other side. And guys, it was such a pleasure bringing the information to you tonight, and I look forward to seeing you all at the top. With that being said and done, you guys have a great night.